Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined again by Jen Perelman. She's running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz down in South Florida. I've had you on a couple times because I make no bones. Not particularly a supporter of DWS, but also, I mean, you got coronavirus down there still waging. We are basically have one foot off the economic cliff right now as moratoriums for evictions are up across the country. Unemployment, the $600 a week is up across the country. So a lot to talk about. I kind of wanted to start because I feel like I saw an ad that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is running, and you either cry or you laugh. It's one or the other because it is so dishonest. And it's not even an attack ad on you. It's just a fake ad extolling her virtues. But she's basically pushing this message that, she's so progressive. She has led the fight on masks. This is her accomplishment. And she's expanding Obamacare while depriving people of Medicare for all during a pandemic. Anyway, just wanted to get your reaction. We'll show the ad, in this interview. But just the dishonesty that she's running on, because really her whole record has just been, your typical corporate servant to Wall Street, big oil, big pharma, big sugar, and the rest of them.
Yeah, it's definitely, to me, it looked like satire. But what's sad about it is, and you saw it because you're a journalist, so you look into these things. But unfortunately, that ad is only playing here. So most people around the country don't have the opportunity to realize this joke. And she does have her core group of supporters, and she essentially needs every single one of them to get out and vote. So she simply just needs to remind them that she's there so they go vote. But she doesn't mention us at all. That's her strategy. She's pretended we're not here from the beginning. Although my name goes to her congressional webpage, so that's fun.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So the primary's in a few weeks. You're beginning to run ads even on national television. In the behemoth, you'll be running ads on Anderson Cooper and elsewhere. So talk to me about what are things looking like. I know there's not like a whole lot of polling. She doesn't seem like she's willing to debate you. Where's the campaign at in terms of your odds?
I would say I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, look, we're not stupid. We understand numbers and statistics, and there's definitely an advantage to an incumbent, and especially in a closed primary during a pandemic. It's definitely more favors an incumbent, but she's not any incumbent. And I think that there are definitely a lot of people down here that when they know there is a viable alternative they've all been very receptive. I would say for every one person we talk to that's, says something like, no, Debbie's my girl, there's 10 people that we talk to that want to see her gone. So really it just comes down to, can we get those people to all come out and vote? And do we completely trust our election mechanism, which that's another story. So it's, I have certain reservations about a lot of the obviously election integrity issues. So in a fair fight, yeah, I'd feel a lot more confident.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But also, I mean, we're referencing what happened in 2016, obviously, ballots being thrown out while Tim Canova ran against her, very shady, election supervisors down in Broward County. But also with coronavirus going on right now, I mean, I don't mean to stereotype, but Debbie Wasserman Schultz is relying on those older voters down there in Florida. And with coronavirus increasing, they say older voters will vote. Doesn't matter. They'll come out of the casket to vote, so to speak. But there's a real risk if they can't do mail-in ballots of going to a polling place. So do you feel there might be in some way a depressed turnout for the in-person, or do we even know if there will be in-person?
It's, we really have no idea what to expect. We have been encouraging people to request their vote by mail ballots all along just because we don't know what's going to happen. Could this be a situation like what happened to Charles Booker, where all of a sudden a whole bunch of polling places are closed and so it suppresses our voter turnout? And, that's the kind of stuff we need to anticipate happening. So we've been suggesting everybody request vote by mail, but there are definitely voters, and even a lot of older voters, that they like to go out and vote. They like to go in and vote, and that's fine. We just would like people that can and are willing to vote by mail to do so, just to eliminate the amount of people that need to vote in person. But that is definitely something that I think about. And, she definitely does rely on those older voters. I will say that a lot of people have already voted here because our vote by mail started already. So a lot of her voters are the people that they vote as soon as it comes in the mail. So I would think a lot of her vote by mail voters have already voted. And so what we have left are really communities that she doesn't normally reach, and a lot of the young people, because the young people have not voted yet.
And can we I want to laser in on one issue that obviously, there's a lot of issues that distinguish you from her, but right now you have over 50 million people have filed jobless claims, right? You have people all over the country, I've interviewed several, facing evictions. Now Republicans are proposing, it's not official, but it seems they're going to cut the unemployment expansion from $600 extra a week down to $200 a week, which overall most people can't live off. That would be, if you have $200 extra a week added to the putrid amount that most states give you on unemployment, people are going to have to make choices between rent, food, rent, medicine, rent, go down the list. All the while, I mean, these people that are jobless now, it's not easy right now to get on Medicaid. It ain't easy to get on Obamacare. They're not saying, oh, don't worry about the deductible, we'll cover it. So all the while, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is running ads that she's a champion on healthcare, but we're in a pandemic. It doesn't seem to be slowing down until we have a vaccine. Nobody, including her, has shifted on Medicare for all. Can you kind of talk about how important and telling that is that, there's tens of millions of people potentially without health care right now?
Well, first of all, let me say that Debbie is somebody who always takes an opportunity to drop the breast cancer survivor card. She does it multiple times in multiple ways all the time. And that, to me, in and of itself, has been so frustrating in that she doesn't support Medicare for all. So even before there was a pandemic, there was this sort of, look at me, I was able to survive breast cancer. Oh, that was so hard for me. Well, imagine how hard it is for people that don't have health care. I'd also like to point out that even without the people that can file for unemployment, Florida has so many independent contractor people that do things, whether it's the entertainment industry, the tourism industry, that they don't even qualify for unemployment, and their industries are completely shattered. So we have to first accept that the people that are even capable of getting unemployment is still just a certain percentage of people that are now really struggling. So the rest of the people, they don't get anything. So this, to me, should be a testament to that maybe having healthcare tied to employment isn't the best way to go. We are in a serious situation here. She's hosting town halls on childhood drownings. We're trying to get food to people that need food. I've been trying to figure out people that can help people navigate through the unemployment system. I get emails all the time from people that are in dire straits, probably like the people that you've been talking to. And there's nothing I can really do other than keep bringing a lot of attention to it and say, first of all, it's a state function, and we know Florida is Florida. And then we have federal representatives that aren't even using their platform to sort of encourage the state people to get their stuff together. So it's just nobody is standing up for the people here. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. And can we kind of talk about, I want to kind of bring viewers in behind the scenes. And disclaimer, this is not you complaining. This is me complaining. You got progressive candidates with a real chance to win, but I haven't seen you on some of the top progressive shows. I think you're going on the Young Turks. Obviously, they're not.
I was on with Cenk.
Okay, good. So they had you on, but a lot of other shows haven't. Sunrise Movement, I don't think has commented or endorsed on you, and Florida's pretty important in terms of the fight against climate change. You've been very consistent on the Green New Deal. There's been some other groups that haven't, not even necessarily, maybe they're not going to endorse for whatever reason, but at least, take a look, maybe tweet out. It's kind of hard during a pandemic and it's not just you, by the way. I've talked to other candidates. It's kind of hard as a candidate during a pandemic where you can't do the traditional campaigning if you're not getting that lift from independent media or these groups. Can you kind of talk about, obviously you've been positive about it, but it's got to be an uphill climb if you're not getting that kind of exposure.
So it's very frustrating. And it's especially frustrating when we see people that are so apparently push themselves as progressive spokespeople and people that really care about the policies, but then they don't go out of their way to support somebody who would push those policies. And that has to do with their own comfort level with putting their own careers out there, for taking a risk, for maybe backing somebody that can't win. But it's like a chicken and an egg. Maybe if you all would get behind us, we'd have a better chance of winning. And this goes for the union endorsements. This goes for all of it. It is. I actually am going to write a book about this whole experience, and I have a whole chapter on endorsements, because that in and of itself is so fraudulent that I can't even begin to get into it right now. But
so moving on, I want to ask, let's say you did the upset there and were victorious. How do you really make a difference quickly in Congress? Because we're seeing right now, I like AOC, I like Rashida Tlaib, I like Ilhan Omar, Ro Khanna, all these progressives. But Pramila Jayapal just came out saying, well, we don't really have a red line per se in the next negotiations with the Democratic establishment. A lot, AOC and them have voted for a lot of things that Pelosi wanted. How do you balance that in terms of, do you go in there scorched earth, or are you willing to work with them? Because a lot of people want, if we're getting the numbers, if we're getting to the point where we have enough numbers to start blocking Pelosi and the Democrats and whatever compromise they're trying to make with Mitch McConnell, they want you to block and go scorched earth, not go along.
So for me, it's really a matter of looking at this with two different sides to it. So there's the policy end, which on the policy side of things, obviously right now there are not enough progressives in Congress to really be able to take the lead and take the initiative. I do think that there are enough that they could be forming more resistance. I don't know the background stories. I don't know who has to do what, go along to get along. I don't know about that. And so I don't like to judge that. I also don't know which people in there are also considering what their future career ambitions are. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying it in a factual way. So if you're thinking about your next office or how you want, and it could be purely from a service perspective, I'm not judging it. You have to take into consideration long-term relationships and what you do in a different manner in order to stay in that position. So I think there's a few factors at play, and I don't know all of it for any of them, but for me, the most important factor of this position is the platform and the soapbox that you have to stand on. So regardless of what we are or are not able to do in the short term in terms of policy, that is an opportunity for us, everybody in their own district, to be treating this like a job of service and being out in the community, serving the community, and using your platform to bring in everybody to the fold in a similar way that Bernie didn't win in 2016, but we're all talking about Medicare for all now. And these campaigns are incredibly powerful in and of themselves, regardless of the win and regardless of the policy. It's really about using this as best we can in the moment that we have. And I would think for me, it would just continue to be that way. I really do see myself, my background is in journalism, and I do see myself very much as someone who is like on the whistleblower end of this entire process. But for me, it's just keeping it real, being who I am, and being the loudest voice that cannot be bought. And if that doesn't get very far with policy, that's fine. But it'll get pretty far as people hearing me. I am extremely loud.
I think that's a good place to end. Thank you, Jen Perelman. Your primaries in a couple weeks down there in Florida?
August 18th. Early voting is August 8th to the 15th.
And people can find out more about you where?
Gen2020.com. We need donations. We need phone bankers. It's very easy. You can do it from anywhere. We need people to follow us on social media. So at GenFL23 on Twitter and Instagram. And just, spread, share, like that. It just helps. It all helps spread the word.
And I also think that, this is kind of the wild, wild west. We just don't know in a pandemic, particularly in a hot zone like Florida Miami hospitals are overrun. The cases are through the roof in Florida. We just don't know if it would be a normal turnout election. So in a weird way, it could potentially be more favorable to an upset. So now is that crunch time for people to volunteer or contribute or whatever. So definitely thanks for your time, and we'll keep in touch as the primary gets closer.
Thanks so much, Jordan.
Okay. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.